Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Heidi Wall. I am the girls varsity lacrosse coach here. And when I was a student here, I played on the field hockey team, I was a swimmer, and I played lacrosse. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot that's changed. I think, first of all, the rules of the game have changed a lot since I was a student. The positions specifically have changed. There used to be names of the attackers were first home, second home, third home.
Yeah.
We had attack wings, defensive wings. There's always a center, and then the defenders were third man, cover point, and point. And now on the field, we just have attack, defense, and midfield.
Oh, that's a big difference.
Yeah. So when I was a student here, there were no boundaries in the game, if you can believe it. Some of the origins of the game are such that it didn't have boundaries.
Okay.
And so you had lines on the field for the 8-meter arc and what's called the crease around the goal and the center circle. But there were no sidelines, there were no end lines, there was no restraining line, which they have now. So all of that has been put in. I mean, so they would just call what you would think of as a natural boundary. So if the ball went out of bounds, whoever was closest to the ball would get the ball and then bring it back on. So that's changed. There's a new rule now called free movement, where when the whistle blows, you used to have to stop on the whistle, and that's actually a very recent change in the last couple of years. Last season was our, 2 seasons ago maybe, with our first time playing with that rule change. Those are some of the biggest changes. I mean, the technology of the sticks has really changed. And so players can do a lot more with their sticks than we ever could. The old sticks used to be, some of them were made of wood. Some of them were, the earlier plastic sticks still were very like tight stringed. And it took a lot to learn how to throw and catch. And now players who are new to the game can just get right out there and throw and catch pretty quickly. I mean, that hasn't impacted us directly quite. I mean, certainly we have much nicer locker rooms, but the field surface has definitely changed the game. So when I was playing, we always played on grass, all the grass fields. We didn't have any turf fields. And so, now of course we always play on turf. So that makes the game much different. It's much more predictable about where the ball is going to bounce. It's a faster paced game. So those are some of the bigger, it's easier to pick up a ground ball on turf than it is on grass.
So many.
Definitely. Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
So when I arrived here, I'd never played lacrosse before. So I picked up the sport when I got here and then went on to play in college. And that's almost unheard of, that, people who come here now, like, especially if you're going to play on the varsity team, you need to have had some experience coming in. And I think, part of that is that when I was growing up, there just weren't the kind of town leagues and other there weren't no club programs, and there were no town rec leagues. And, students now have so many more opportunities to get exposed to the sport a lot earlier, which is great. But then there's also the challenge of, to continue to hone your skills and get good enough, because everybody's getting better, because everybody's starting earlier. And then when you arrive here, if you want to be competitive, some people do find that they need to play more throughout the season, that just playing within the season isn't enough to continue to build your skills the way you need to compete at the next level. I think a lot of it probably happened alongside some of the club sport development. So, I definitely noticed, even when I was in college, so in the late 90s, every class of players that came in was more and more talented each year. And so, I think those players started to get a little bit more exposure. Like the girls who were freshmen when I was a senior, they clearly had played more lacrosse at that point. So, I think it was probably around that time that some of the club teams started popping up, maybe early 2000s. Oh, well, winning the New England Championship in field hockey.
Oh,
yes.
Wait, what year was that?
So that was the fall of 1993. Yep.
So cool.
Yeah, it was great. So actually, Kate Dolan was the coach, who's still the coach now.
Actually?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was great. It was a very exciting, series of games, and the semifinal game was actually much more exciting even than the final game. So, we went into double overtime and then a shootout. So we had strokes, and, I think we were probably the underdog going into that game. And, we beat them, and then we beat Taft in the finals. And then the team didn't win again for another 25 years, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. It was the, whichever year it was here, I think it was maybe, 2016, 17,
Okay.
when the team won again. And they've won several times, I think
Wow.
3 or 4 times over the last couple of years.
Uh-huh.
But they hadn't won since my senior year, 1993. Yeah, they'd gotten close many times, but yeah, that was definitely the most memorable moment. Probably not.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I just think because young people are learning sports much earlier, that, I think that they're competing at a higher level than, when we were. But it was also, it's hard to compare because the technology was different. Like when we were playing field hockey, we were playing on grass. Totally different game, like lacrosse, but even more so in field hockey, to play on grass than to play on turf. And then, different rules of things that you can do. I mean, many rules have changed in the game of field hockey as well. Oh yeah. Definitely.
How was it?
Great. Always the thing that we looked forward to every year. Yeah.
Like, is it any different from like the AE now?
Well, for a few years, when I first arrived here as a faculty member in 2014, I think the pep rally was happening up at the stadium. So that was different, and they've moved it back to Borden, right?
Wait, where's the stadium? Like the
up at the
football field?
up on the football field. So that definitely had a different vibe to it. So I'm glad that they've moved it back to the gym. We used to burn an A. We did a big bonfire out by the bell tower. So we'd do the pep rally, and then we'd come out to the bell tower, and then they'd do a big bonfire, which was really cool.
Whoa.
In my senior year, Gunga rappelled down the bell tower.
Wait.
Is that cool?
What? Wait, why did they stop doing
I
it?
don't know.
That's
Yeah,
sad.
you'll have to bring that idea back up. See if
We
we'll
have to.
allow that.
That's absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was very cool. I mean, my favorite thing was definitely the camaraderie amongst my teammates, and all the lessons that I learned from playing sports. That, it has just become, it was a big part of my life, and, I continue to play both field hockey and lacrosse in college, and, ever since then have been coaching, and so it's, just solidified my experience as an athlete, is what drew me to wanting to be able to coach and continue to be part of a team environment. Worst memories? I don't know. Probably a long bus ride somewhere where I got sick.
Oh no.
Yeah, I think, the long bus rides can often be challenging.
All right.
But,
great.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.